If there was one sport that I could force anyone with an inclination towards spreadsheets, numbers, and commas to watch, it'd be baseball. People say it's boring, too slow, things rarely ever happen, and if they do, it's usually nothing worth going crazy about. And as a guy who interacts with baseball regularly, people are kinda right. Baseball can get boring. Exciting plays might be few and far between compared to other major sports. Hell, one of the few things more boring than a bad baseball game is golf. But that's where the beauty comes from. Narrative is the unspoken magnum opus of any successful sport. There is no set equation of athleticism and technique that makes a sport a sport. Chess is as much of a sport as football. Netball is as much of a sport as soccer. Baseball's pacing is like a sort of psychological chess match between all involved parties. A better comparison would be a good old cowboy gang standoff. Imagine this, 13 cowboys, split into 3 separate gang factions.
The Cardinals look to win the series
at Citi Field in New York.
Angel Hernandez is in midseason form.
For one faction, 9 of them are present. Their main objective is trying to stop the other gang of cowboys from getting ahead of them, but the way these cowboys are operating is a bit different than your traditional cowboy gang war. Instead of sending out another set of 9, the other gang leader decides to send 1. The standard mano-a-mano format is kept. The cowboy with 8 of his friends is the one shooting. The solo cowboy has a gun too, but his objective isn't to shoot back, it's to hit the oncoming bullet as far away as possible. Weird, I get it. There must be a ton of other questions that are popping into your mind right now. Why are there 8 cowboys behind the one with a gun? They're there to try and catch the bullet if the lone cowboy hits it. Who's the factionless cowboy standing behind him? He's there to check if the bullet passes through a specific zone. Don't worry too much about him. He'll ruin the standoff for you if you do. Who are the other cowboys on the side, in a place that seems dug out, inside the ground? Those are the gang leaders. They're here to watch and send out other cowboys if needed. This happens 9 times. Every single standoff is different. Sometimes, the lone cowboy can't hit the bullet and he has to go sit down. Sometimes, the lone cowboy hits the bullet, but not far enough. And other times, the cowboy hits the metal off the bullet and the other cowboys can't catch it.
This is loaded and 1 out.
Oh my God!
Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here! Second deck walk-off home run!
I hope baseball sounds a lot more interesting when I describe it like that, but that's still not why a nerd should watch it. The standoff is just the surface, the math that predicts every outcome before it happens, the numbers that tell you who wins before anyone fires. That's what makes baseball the nerd sport. Every cowboy in that standoff has been measured, completely. No major sport in America has as many numbers as baseball has. No other sport has the acronyms baseball has either. WAR.
B-Crow, awesome! Best defensive player in the game.
FIP.
Numbers for the Miz, they jump off the page at you.
OPS+.
Forget about that baseball!
And many more sabermetrics that would take me an hour to list. All got started because of a security guard in the 70s. All good statistics tracking starts with a piece of paper, a pencil, and a couple questions. Bill James, the father of modern baseball statistics, would spend his nights analyzing baseball games. Because of the work he's done, we get beautiful equations like these. WAR stands for wins above replacement. It's the number of wins a player nets your team because of their overall contribution compared to a replacement level player. The easiest real-world nerd comparison would be a trading card game grading system, except WAR has the ability to go over 10 and into the negatives. Zero WAR is the replacement level player, a serviceable minor leaguer that could make it onto an MLB roster. A 5-level WAR player would be an all-star. Not a guy you'd know if you'd never watched baseball, but a guy you'd know if you did. If you've ever driven past your baseball team stadium, you'd probably see a banner of him there. Anyone with a level of 8 or above is an MVP candidate. One of those guys whose R is in the promotional material. Guys who are elite, a cut above the rest. Players you would build your entire franchise around. The closer you are to 10, the more recognizable you might be to someone who's never seen baseball before. And if you surpass 10, you're one of the all-time greats. It's the metric that provides the most context to narratives surrounding players. Take, for example, Mike Trout. A man with a decades-long resume of greatness. He's averaged 8+ WAR for a decade. If we were to look at his statistics and watch some of his greatest plays, you'd know, along with everyone else, that he is one of the best players of his generation. But he's never won anything. For all the great stuff that Mike Trout has done and continues to do, he has no team success to show for it. It makes his career all the more tragic and all the more beautiful. He put his body on the line, stayed loyal to a team that refused to build around his all-time talent, just to have nothing to show for it in terms of team success. That might not show you how contextually intertwined math and stats is to baseball, so I have another metric for it. OPS plus is the combination of on base plus slugging. When we adjust for ballpark and era, that's where the plus comes from. Offense in baseball is generated by getting on base. You can walk there, literally, if the cowboy misses the zone enough times, or you can hit the bullet. The regular OPS is the amount you get on base plus the amount of bases per at-bat. After the consolidation is complete, OPS plus compares you to the league average batter, which starts at 100. The farther away you get from 100, the better or worse batter you are. An all-time example of this is Barry Bonds, a player who at his best had an OPS plus of 268, which means he was more than twice as good as the league average batter. A guy like that is a for sure lock in the Hall of Fame. The most home runs of all time, the most walks of all time, because pitchers were so afraid of him. That's not the case. Even though he was so good, you can split his career into two separate Hall of Fame careers. Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame, and he'll probably never get inducted until he dies because he used steroids. The numbers say he's the greatest hitter who ever lived. The voters say the way he got there disqualifies him, and that's a conversation that the math can't settle, and that's what makes baseball interesting. The stats tell you everything except what to think about it, but we're not here to settle all that. We're here to appreciate baseball equations because they give us the language to have these types of arguments. We've been talking about hitters this whole time, the cowboy hitting the bullet, but what about the cowboy doing the shooting? Those cowboys have two main objectives: make them miss the bullet, and if they manage to hit them, make sure they hit the bullet bad. Pitcher is my favorite position in all of baseball, and it's the one with the coolest set of numbers. Every pitch, and I mean every single pitch, has an unimaginable amount of track data behind it. From the amount the pitches move, to how long the batter can see them, to the amount they spin, and even the sequence compared to the previous pitches thrown are all analyzed. And trust me, some of these cowboys can throw these bullets in the most ridiculous ways imaginable. Some will beat you with pure gas. Others take a more methodical approach where they aim to make you miss. And others are pure magicians that can make the ball disappear before you even see it. With so many different styles of pitching, how did they find a statistic to provide the context necessary despite the stylistic differences? At first, it was ERA. That calculated the amount of runs that you would give up if you were to pitch a complete game. If your ERA was 3, that means if you were to pitch a whole 9-inning game, you would get 3 earned runs. That worked for a time, but the issue with this statistic is that it ignores context. That's where FIP shines. It doesn't care how you throw, it only cares about what happens when you do. If you strike the cowboy out, that's yours. You did that. If you walk him, that's yours too. But if he hits a weak grounder to second base and the second baseman trips over his own boots, FIP doesn't touch that. It never even happened as far as the equation is concerned. That's what makes it style agnostic. The guy throwing pure gas at 101 miles per hour and the magician throwing 84-mile-an-hour breaking balls that disappear at the plate are all graded on the same terms. And when you stack FIP next to ERA for every pitcher in baseball, you start to see things ERA was hiding. Guys who look bad but were actually elite. Guys who looked elite but were riding their defense. This equation doesn't care about the narrative. It tells you the truth. That's the thing about baseball statistics. They were built to cut through noise. In all of this, WAR, OPS plus, FIP, none of it stayed in just baseball. The NBA started tracking player efficiency the same way. The NFL started building models around expected points added. Soccer clubs started spending millions on expected goals. Every major sport looked at what baseball built in those night shifts with Bill James and a pencil and said, we need that. But baseball got there first, and it got there first because of the pace. Because 9 innings of Cowboys gave analysts enough repetition to find a signal through the noise. You don't have to love baseball to appreciate what it built, but if you genuinely find numbers interesting, if a well-constructed equation actually does something for you, there's no other sport on earth that rewards that more than baseball. Every sport has stats, but baseball has a science. The math isn't beside the point. The math is the point. That's pretty much it. Subscribe if you wanna. Have a good day.